The NBA 2K27 player ratings just dropped, so as an avid NBA fan, I have a responsibility to react to it and to hold them responsible because sometimes they will really butcher these ratings. There's a lot of inconsistencies, which I really hate because I never really know if 2K is going toward let's go solely off of last year, or even if last year was an injury-riddled year or just a bad year, will we kind of give some players some benefit of the doubt? If they went one way or the other, it wouldn't really be that big of a deal, but sometimes I feel like they are very inconsistent. Let's just go ahead and start with the very first ratings that dropped, which were the WNBA ratings. And I'll be honest, I don't watch the WNBA, so I need some avid watchers to let me know if they got their top ratings right, because I think, at least to my knowledge, they got it right that AJ Wilson is number 1 and Caitlin Clark is number 2. But shouldn't there be more of a gap than a 1 overall difference? I feel like AJ Wilson's so good and like a clear number 1 that everyone else should be at least like 3 or 4 ratings under her. I understand 2K Norway never does that kind of thing with their ratings, but I don't know. Like Caitlin Clark's obviously really good, but is she that close to being the best player in the world? Y'all let me know. The next ratings were the driving dunk. And again, a couple inconsistencies. I don't understand Mac McClung at 93. What is driving dunk? What does it really mean? Because if it just talks about like making difficult dunks and the packages, then Mac McClung should be like 99. He is the best dunker in the NBA. He's won the slam dunk contest two years in a row. But if it's just the ability to get a dunk off in the NBA, I swear I watched this dude's G League highlights and he's not even dunking like that. And he's also in the G League. So should he even be top 10? I feel like he should be, either the very top or not in this top 10. So at 10th is pretty crazy. Jalen Johnson, second highest in the NBA in driving dunk to me, even as a Hawks fan. I feel like that should be lowered a little bit. Maybe a standing dunk could be raised, but I don't know. Besides those two things, I think driving dunk was one of the better ratings that they gave out because they had a couple bad ones. Like the next thing they released was the vertical leap ratings, the top 10. And Andrew Wiggins was drafted 12 years ago. Does 2K really think he has the, tied for the third highest vertical leap in the NBA? He has only one attribute under Shaedon Sharpe, who should probably be 99. Vertical leap is a stat that is actually recorded using numbers. Like your vertical leap is a number. I'm pretty sure Shaedon Sharpe had like a 45-inch vert. How is he not number 1? Like I get Amen Thompson is so athletic, but 99 vertical for Amen Thompson, I feel like his athleticism is just a whole bunch of other things combined. Like every single facet of athleticism, he is the best, but specifically vertical leap, I don't know about that. And then they released their mid-range shooting, and definitely a polar bear in Arlington, Texas, because Trey Johnson having a 98 mid-range, I love watching him, so I'll hype him up, but the same mid-range as Jokic, Kyrie Irving, a better mid-range than Jalen Brunson. Honestly, Jalen Brunson should probably be like a 98. Cade Cunningham, better mid-range than Kevin Durant, which I don't know why he's a 97, but we have Kyrie at a 98. I don't like that inconsistency. And then DeMar DeRozan is still an elite mid-range shooter. He should probably have a 98, and someone like Kyrie should have a 95. But I do like Shea having a 99 and him being at the very top. And then I guess Jokic, I don't know. The ratings are all right. And then we get to three-point shooting. And three-point shooting had an insane inflation this year because I'm pretty sure, I'll show you guys the graphic. I don't have it pulled up for myself right now. But three-point ratings, there was a player in the top 10 who had like an 87 three-pointer or like an 88 three-pointer. Now the lowest in the top 10 is 91. By the way, at number 9 is Max Strus, who is not, he's a good three-point shooter, don't get me wrong, but top 10 in the NBA, no exaggeration. I'm not even saying this for a YouTube video. I think I could name someone on every single NBA team who is a better three-point shooter than Max Strus. Like, I just think that's kind of insane. And then I get he takes difficult threes, but we really have Luka Doncic at 92. Like, that is so insane. Obviously, Steph should be 1. I think Concadouble had a really good season, so he should be number 2, even though I personally think it'll drop off next year. And then the rest of the ratings are fine in the top 10. There are certain players in the NBA who their whole job is to make a 3, and you have Max Strus in the top 10. Now listen, 8th seed Miami Heat Max Strus, maybe, but not this current version. And then they released ball handling, and this is the one that I really have no issues with. If there was one thing, maybe I'd have Shea with like a +1 ball control to get it to a 97 so that he can match Stephen Curry. But that's super nitpicky. They might have missed out on someone, but all I see on this list is 10 elite ball handlers. And then same thing for Speed with Ball. I will say, as a Hawks fan, it's Kingston Flemings as a rookie already top 10. Like, I kind of get Acuff, but I feel like that's a little bit of a reach. I could probably name someone who should have a better Speed with Ball than that. And then we get to perimeter defense, and I do have some problems with this one, I think. I think that Dyson Daniels should be a little higher. I personally believe Dyson Daniels and Casey Wallace are the 2 best perimeter defenders in the whole NBA. So for them to be at number 4 and number 6 is pretty crazy. I think Scotty Barnes is pretty high. I get he's an amazing defender overall, but specifically perimeter defense being 91 ahead of a guy like, I don't even see Alex Caruso in this top 10. Like, I do believe Scotty Barnes, if you combine perimeter defense, steals, blocks, and then post defense, should be a better defender than Caruso. But specifically, perimeter is pretty insane. Then Jaden McDaniels, Toumani Camara, Jaylen Brown top 10 is crazy. There are so many guys that specialize in defense who are better defenders. I mean, let's talk about OKC guys. Let's talk about Caruso, Lou Dort. Let's talk about San Antonio guys, Stephon Castle. I don't know. I think Jaylen Brown got pretty overrated in these ratings. But then 2K did do Kaysen and Dyson justice, giving them a 98 steal. And listen, I don't know if I want to go off of solely stats from one season. Maybe I have to look into Kevin Porter Jr.'s career a little bit more. But KPJ has a 95 steal. That seems pretty insane to me. And then D'Anthony Melton, maybe the numbers were good. I don't see him as that kind of guy. And then also Matisse Thybulle has a 98 steal. I get it. He's a defensive specialist, but that's crazy high. And then we have shot blockers. Obviously, Wemby is number 1. And then it's Sarr, which I don't think Sarr's that good of a shot blocker, but whatever. Number 3, Jay Huff. I get it. The stats do say he is an amazing shot blocker, and I think he is. As long as 2K has his interior defense at like a 70, let's balance it out. Let's not make Jay Huff a defensive monster, even though if he is, dude, the Pacers in play now will be pretty good. But him having the same block as Chet Holmgren is just pretty crazy to me. Then Klingon, Edey, Mobley at 7. Okay. Gobert at 8. I would raise Gobert a little bit more. Walker Kessler, fine. Yves Missi, I guess. And now we're getting into the actual player ratings. First, we'll do rookies and then the whole top 100. Top 10 rookies is something that I personally disagree with. I think that before the season starts, you should just go off of where they were picked. Like, personally, even if you think Acuff's a better player than Mikal Brown Jr., I don't think 2K should have Acuff ranked higher than a guy drafted ahead of him. The season hasn't started. I feel like all benefit of the doubt should go toward the draft positions, toward trusting these GMs, even if you shouldn't. And then once the season starts, you can start going off your own opinion, because this is 2K making their own opinion on players who haven't played in the NBA. But overall, it's not crazy. I'd probably raise Caleb Wilson 1 so that he's only 1 overall lower than the top 3, but I like it. And now let's get into the top 100. My biases are going to show like crazy here. Honestly, I'm too lazy to think about players who didn't make the list, so I'm just going to react to the players that I see. And what I see is one of the best players on my favorite team is only at 94. I think Dyson Daniels, his impact goes so much more beyond the stat sheet that he should be way higher than 94. I feel like he should easily be in like the 60s or 70s. So the fact that he's that low is pretty crazy. Also, I feel like a lot of these ratings go off of recency bias. And if you go off recency bias, I think Ayo Dosunmu should be higher than being in the 90s because of how amazing of a season he had last year. But the rest of the players, I mean, I'm kind of fine where they're at. Honestly, I don't see a single player here that I don't think deserves to be in the top 100. If anything, maybe it's Devin Vassell, but he's still a good player. And then obviously you can see the 100th rated player in NBA 2K27 is an 81 overall. So the stat inflations just keep happening and happening. One thing I will say about that is it does kind of suck, and it is 2K saying, oh, these players have gotten better, but it also could be because of the game specifically. I didn't even say this in the 3-point thing, but if they are boosting everyone's three-pointer, potentially that just means that it is going to be harder to shoot in the game. So they had to raise the ratings to make it kind of balance out. So I'm not really going to harp on that too much. Now 90 to 81, right off the rip, Immanuel Quickley being at 90, I would have probably picked like 5 or 6 guys in that last 10 to pick over Quickley. I just don't think he's that good. Also, DeJounte Murray and Peyton Pritchard being the same overall is pretty crazy because DeJounte, now whether it's his fault or not because of the injuries, has done nothing over the last 2 years, and Pritchard has been amazing. AJ Mitchell might be a little low. I think Dylan Brooks is way better than the 84th overall ranked player, but maybe I'll eat my words when I really see how good the top 80 is. Jrue Holiday at 81 is also pretty insane. Like, I get most teams want him because of fit, but I think also even just talent-wise, he's better. He's a top 80 NBA player. And now it's 80 to 71, and I just, in the first couple seconds of me looking at it, I don't like it. I think Paul George is very, very low. I think he should be like probably 15 spots ahead of what he is. Naz Reid at 80. I don't like Naz Reid at 80. I think he's an all-right player. I think he's borderline top 100, though. Like, I think they're really gassing up Naz Reid, but hopefully that makes the Hornets playable because they did trade LaMelo Ball. Josh Hart's cool. Yeah, Paul George should be higher. DeMar, I mean, he's a free agent. I think he's kind of fine where he is. If not, maybe a little bit lower. Even Alex Sarr should be a little bit lower. He hasn't really shown anything in the NBA. And then, okay, I might get some hate for this. Julius Randle should be a little bit higher. Like, I get he gets clowned on, but he gets clowned on because at one point he was an all-star. So he's clearly not a top 30 player. That's why he gets clowned. But for him to not even be top 70, I think is pretty crazy. CJ, he had a great playoffs, and the Hawks started winning when they traded for him. He could be lowered a little bit too. And then Derek White, I kind of get it because his offense shouldn't be good because he was so bad offensively last year. But Derek White should be higher. Now 61 through 70, and I don't hate most of the list. One thing I will say is I think Brandon Ingram should be higher rated than Josh Giddey and Norman Powell, or just especially Norman Powell, because both are scorers, except Brandon Ingram could actually play make a little bit. Brandon Ingram could also defend a little bit, and Norman Powell can't do either of those things. And I guess maybe you could say Norman Powell is a better scorer than BI, but I think either BI should be higher or Norman Powell should be a little bit lower. I'll respect an all-star, but he's a fake all-star. Come on. And now we got 51 through 60, and I'm going to play a little game of higher or lower, and I'm just going to say it after I say a player, because I think most of these guys are either being overrated or underrated. John Morant's being underrated. I think he should be at least 1 or 2 overalls higher. Same thing with Gobert. Gobert is also still a really good defensive center, and I get maybe the ratings are tanked a little bit because his offense is so bad, but I still think he deserves to be at least probably like an 85. Fox, I think it's fine. Maybe -1 overall, but he's still De'Aaron Fox, even if he had a bad playoffs. Brandon Miller, lower. I think Brandon Miller has a lot of potential and he can be good, but what he's shown on the NBA floor has been a lot of inefficiency, not that good of defense, not that good of playmaking. I don't know what would really warrant an 85 overall besides 20 points per game. Jared Allen, I think, actually is perfectly fine. Same thing with Sabonis. And personally, I'd put Tyler Hero up 1 or 2 overalls. I think he's a really good offensive engine. And I think he's going to prove a lot of guys wrong in the upcoming season. Ausar Thompson, lower. I'm sorry. He is almost a nothing offensively. Like, I get Gobert is also that, but Gobert is so valuable as a rim protector. I guess it's just the way that the ratings work, but I think Gobert is a better player than Ausar Thompson right now. And then we have Jaden McDaniels. I think that's fine, if not just a little bit. No, I like where he's at. And then Dylan Harper in 85 overall. I'm sorry, we're really hyping him up because he is young and because they made the finals. I think he should probably be like an 82 overall, just from what we've seen. He could always go up throughout the season, but right now he is not an 85. And then we have 41 through 50. Zion Williamson, I think he's being underrated a little bit because his production is actually really good. So I would raise him up. And then Jimmy Butler is an 85 overall. He cannot help that he gets hurt. There's no way that you watch him on the Warriors, you watch what he does with Stephen Curry, you watch him win games with the Warriors because he is that good of a player, and then show up in the clutch moments, and you give him an 85. I mean, he's already, if you're playing my NBA, he's going to be hurt for like 6 months. You don't need to nerf him. Give him that like 87, 88 overall that he deserves. What? And then let's be real. Can we lower Duren a little bit? Like, his playoff performance was actually that bad. There's a reason that he hasn't agreed on a contract with the Pistons because the Pistons don't even want to pay him like the 44th best player in the game. And then besides that, honestly, I think the rest of the ratings here are pretty good. Now, 31 through 40. I think Jaren's fine. I think LaMelo, you could probably raise up a little bit. I think he was that good last season. Larry Markkinen, fine. Cooper Flag, I feel like he should go down to like an 86 or an 85, kind of what Dylan Harper was, because Cooper Flag was really good, but I feel like you are gassing him up because he's young. He can always get his overall higher throughout the season if he plays like that, but a guy who was a good defender averaging 20, I think that's a good player. And then he's like an all right playmaker, rebounder, all that. Like, I think that's a good player. An 87, though, I don't know. I don't like it. But honestly, I don't like a lot of these 87s. Trae Young, I think, should go down a couple overalls as well. Stephon Castle, probably down a couple overalls as well. Sengun, also down. Like, 87 is pretty high. I get the whole inflation. It is a little high. Evan Mobley, I like him at 87. James Harden, maybe even down a couple overalls too. Like, I don't know. I look at these kind of guys, and then I look at a guy like Darius Garland, who was an 84, and I don't see that much of a gap. I don't see a 3 overall gap between them. And I get Fox was bad, but wait, why is James Harden and De'Aaron Fox on the same? Why is Harden 3 overalls higher? What? And then 21 through 30. I like Siakam at 87. I like Bam at 87. I like Jalen Johnson at 87. Paulo, let's be real. He had a good playoff series. Can we tone this down a little bit? I don't know about 87 personally. I think that's a little overrating. Austin Reeves at 88, great. Denny Avdia at 88, I think that's great. Like, I get if you want to say he's not actually that good of a player, but he did have that good of a season last season. If you just look at the stats, I like 88, maybe down to an 87. OG at an 88 overall. I don't know what attributes would add up to an 88 personally, unless you give him like a 95-3, which you didn't, because he couldn't miss in the playoffs, which you didn't because we just saw the top 10 3-point ratings. So let's lower that down a little bit. He's a role player, 86 overall is perfectly fine for a really good role player. Scotty Barnes, I think is fine. Jamal Murray, I'd lower 1 or 2 overalls just because he had that bad of a playoffs, but his regular season definitely warranted an 89 overall. He was insane. Then we have AD at 21 at a 90 overall. I don't hate it. It's just injuries. And he only played like 10 games last season. So I don't think there's too much of a reason to overreact to that. And then we have the 76er Fest, where 4 different Sixers are a 91 overall. Embiid, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, Tyrese Maxey. Now, this is my personal opinion. I get a lot of people, they love Jaylen Brown. I think LeBron and Jaylen Brown should be 2 overalls lower than Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, when he is healthy, is such a dominant, amazing center. And then Tyrese Maxey is a really good point guard who just averaged like 29 points per game. And I get Jaylen Brown did that too. I have a Jaylen Brown bias, so I get if you disagree with that. But LeBron James should not be as high of an overall as them. I respect LeBron, but let's be real. He was drafted like 27 years ago. That's probably a lie. But I'm gonna roll with it. He was drafted like 27 years ago. He is not a 91 overall still, but I get it. It's LeBron. You have to do that. Booker at 91. I don't hate it. Maybe I'd put him down to like an 89 or 90 because he didn't have that good of a season last year. Halliburton, sure. Last time he played, he was in the NBA Finals. Go ahead. Karl-Anthony Towns at a 93. Okay, we're pushing it a little bit. I get they just won the finals. Cat at a 93 is pretty crazy. He is not a superstar type player. Let's lower that a little bit. Donovan Mitchell 93. I'm fine with that. Jason Tatum at 93. They don't have him top 10. Jason Tatum's a top 10 player in my opinion, but you know what? Sure. Kawhi Leonard at number 11 in the NBA is insane after the season that he just had. When he is healthy, he is a top 7 player in the NBA. So let's go ahead and talk about this top 10. It's a different graphic because 2K never released a graphic. They released every single rating individually. Okay, sure. Why not? Kevin Durant at a 93, Steph at a 93, Cade at a 94, Ant at a 95, Giannis at a 96, Brunson at a 96, Luka at a 96, Jokic at 97, Victor at 97, Shea at 97. I really don't hate these ratings. Personally, I'd have Jokic 1 overall lower than Shea and Wemby. I mean, Shea just won the MVP. Wemby just led his team to the finals, and is clearly a better player than the finals MVP, Jalen Brunson, even though Brunson definitely did outplay him. Brunson at a 96. Okay, we are exaggerating it a little bit, but you know what? I get it. I mean, they just won the finals. I think for the start of the game, he should definitely be a 96. Like the finals MVP should be respected. Giannis at a 96. I get why he is lower than a 97 or a 98, but I think that's the kind of player he is. And I think throughout the season, he will be a 97 or 98. And I think that's good. Cade, that's good. Steph, that's good. KD, that's good. I would still have Kawhi Leonard rated above KD, Steph, Cade, potentially even Ant. Like, Kawhi Leonard's that good of a player. But you know what, 2K? It wasn't the worst ratings in the world. That's just my reaction. That's just my opinion. Hey, maybe they have some sort of weird rating system where everything's objective, and I'm just the one that's wrong because I have the wrong opinion. What was the best take that 2K had that I said that I disagreed with? And what was the worst take that 2K had? Let me know in the comments, and yeah, peace out.